screen. Boop. And man, we had some good meetings yesterday. Some good people in town. Ethan was just catching me up on a lot of how the meetings went down yesterday. I want to look at my Quility every single day, and it's turning into an animal. It's way more than we thought it was going to be. And it's really exciting. I think Brad Smith, Marlon Faulkner, Chris Clark can all attest. They may be under NDAs though, so they might not can attest yet. They can surely attest. So here you are, Ditson. Check it out. I would love to hear in the Q&A just a little bit, like, what does Ditson's profile pic there make you think of? Casey, if you look at that for the first time and you didn't know Jason, what occupation maybe would you say that he would fall into, or just what comes to mind? What's that?
Like a beard model, maybe like a.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
I like that. He could be like one of those beard trimmer commercial models.
Yeah, he's a beard trimmer commercial model.
You work for Norelco, in other words.
I did it one time, I think.
You
I feel like
could.
I've done a little bit.
Holy shenanigans! Excuse me. Look at all these.
I know the chat's blowing up with Secret Service, mugshot, bank robber,
MMA fighter. I like that one.
Best one so far.
Too.
The way I've always wanted to describe it, Brandon Casey, is to me, he reminds me of the movie The Accountant.
A little bit Affleck.
Yes.
Extremely sharp, extremely intelligent, but not the guy you want to cross.
That's right. That's our Ditson.
Yeah.
The nicest guy ever. I don't know what you mean.
Well, here's a good question for you then from Julia Sinasak. Jason, are you in trouble? Why don't you smile, buddy? And it's a valid question. Why are you not smiling in your picture?
I'll tell you, Doug asked me that question. It was at the end of a long day, and that's how the day went.
All right. Well, I just thought maybe you were getting ready to play some football. Football players never smile. Or people that were in photographs prior to 1910. Nobody smiled in pictures.
Oh, he's an old soul.
Unless you had a mental illness or you were, under the age of 13. And even then they weren't generally smiling. Find a picture out there. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't do it. All right. What do we got going on here today? First time riders. Linda Fortunato, $5,842 for the top first time rider. Congratulations. Andre Nero, $50,170. Eric Gurr, $30,471. That's a good week too, man.
That's a week.
In a week.
I had to go back to the top just to make sure that that's not talking about a monthly number.
Well, it's important that we always follow this up with results may vary. Work ethics may vary. Willingness to invest may vary. Personalities may vary. All those things. Alien, 21 applications for first place for the week. Way to go. Top Medicare sub was Christine Angel. Top DI rider was Cody I almost said Campese, but it's Camisi, 2,080. Eric Gurr, top IUL producer, $50,590. Man, that's huge. What do you attribute that to, Ditson? You've been knee deep in it with Resma. This spike in IUL production. What do you attribute that to, bud?
Tell you what, I think people realize that you can use an IUL for far more than just family protection. If you're looking at tax-free retirement, it's a great vehicle. There's just great tax diversions, so to speak, that you can actually utilize with life insurance. It's got multiple options to it, and I'm telling you, IULs they're the next step forward for protecting all sorts of things, assets, family, you name it.
Yeah, very well said. If I want to know more, if I want to learn more, if I want to be better at knowing how to market these and how to sell them, what should I do?
Ultimately, you have to get the training in. You have to talk to the right people to understand exactly how they work. Jeff Sigworth is a plethora of knowledge when it comes to IULs, and I lean on him as well. What's really cool is when you can start identifying those opportunities in the field. When I say in the field, it just means whether you're face-to-face with somebody or you're on a virtual call. It's more than just mortgage protection when you're looking at that lead. There's so many more opportunities. You go in, you focus on the open door, which is what the person's initially looking for. You go through it and you identify what opportunities and other solution sets you've got. And an IUL fits a whole heck of a lot of times. We talk about DFL and debt-free retirement. And I'll tell you what, I've been on a lot of debt-free retirement appointments that have turned into an IUL appointment and vice versa. So it's really going to come down to having a full understanding of how the product works.
Yep. Love it. At conference, we're going to be rolling out some pretty exciting stuff too around the reset program, reset revamp. And that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for this as well. So, all right, top annuity producers. Look at Jen. Way to go, Jen. James Johnson, number one, then almost $900,000 in annuity volume. Well done, sir. Top DFL producers, as you were just alluding to. Number one, Mike Lydecker, the animal. $90,000. Is that a typo? I don't think it is. Well done, man. That's unbelievable. Top base shot recruiter was Mark Newbauer with 6. Top direct recruiter was Chris Cook with 52. Man, talk about being on a tear. Good Lord. Pritchett, top base shot. Chris Cook, top licensed recruit. New writer, tied, goes to Marty, Gus, and Sarah. Top direct new writer was Jacob Pogue. Good turnouts by Sean Shannon and Marlon Faulkner also. Top SNA was Jamie Susie. Way to go, Susie. And Susie's upline, I do believe, Jacob Pogue, was number one on the directs board. Way to go. Bass, Bernie, Mabe, Brown, Wright, Ledesma, Netesheim, Dimitrowitz, Boncella, Nold, Pole, Fuentes, and Bassanese.
Strong.
That was the hardest.
That had to be
group of
the
SNA
hardest.
names. That's the hardest I've ever done.
Yeah.
I think I got 50% of them correct, maybe 50%. I'm assuming there was a silent Z in Dimitrowitz.
Yeah.
Maybe me almost 2 silent Z's.
Mama Campanozzi is proud of your Italian pronunciation of that last one.
Bassanese.
That was very impressive.
Bassanese.
That's nice.
I felt good about that one.
Good.
It's gonna show up in the Q&A that no, it's actually Bassanese. Top key leaders for the week. Quixote. Amanda was the top recruiter, and Manuel Guirola was the top new writers. Jamie Susie, almost $50,000 in premium. Jeffrey Miller with 21 recruits, and Justin Elliott with 3 new writers for the agency owners category. Agency directors, Mr. Alvarado with $82,000. Mark Newbauer with 28 recruits. Goodness grief, Newbauer. He ain't never sour. And Larry Ann Griffin with 4 first-time writers. Also, Sarah Reinecke. Well done. For the regional agency directors, it's Eileen Balmer with Amy Fine kind of nipping at the heels. I love it. That's a huge week for you, Amy. Mike and Christine with 11 recruits, and Derek Brock with 4 new writers. Way to go, regional agency directors. Top managing vice president was the marvelous one with $127,585 in premium. Chris Cook, 52 recruits.
Tell you what, not listed on the leaderboards too. He's not broken out an agency owner just yet, but Mr. Val Zarn is killing it on the recruiting front. Spent a lot of time talking with him out in Orlando and seeing his system and following the Max Day program with the quality recruiting funnels, and it has just been exploding. So congratulations out there to Mr. Val Zarn.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Nate Offert, also on a tear, and I'm sorry, I left out Marlon Faulkner with 6 new writers. Nate Offert's on a tear too. Talk about somebody that can turn in a producer into just a superstar. Unbelievable. Look at Jimmy. 11 recruits, man. Nate Offer with 8 new writers, tied with Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell. Way to go, guys. Top executive vice presidents, Miranda Martin on the APV, on the recruiting, and Sean Shannon on the new writers. Also, Darren Stubbs tied with 4. Associate partner Lynn Watkins with 9 new writers, tied with Ashley and Tyler Harris, getting it done on their honeymoon. Well done. I see you, Ryan and Michelle Miller, too, on the 52 recruits. Edward Pritchett with 882,064 recruits and 17 new writers. Way to go, man. Starting to see a lot of senior partners up here. Marshall Wayland, 815,111 recruits and 23 new writers. Way to go, Delaney and Purdy as well. Good weeks for everybody. On the directs board, we got Mr. Jacob Pogue as the number 1. On the base shop board, we got Paul Bine with 70,912. Keep growing that base. Love it. We only have 2 left. June 15th next week, Las Vegas, Nevada, and following that up in Indianapolis, Indiana in June 22nd. Get there with about 37 of your friends. You won't regret it. Todd, you got a Todd Talk coming up with a couple of studs here, man. Managing Vice President Jordy Hunt and Brian Delaney.
Fired up for this one. Anytime we can hear from Brian Delaney and the leadership that he's developed within his organization, the Preacher organization, is always a fine guest. But fired up, man, to have Jordan Hunt come on. For those of you that don't know, he accomplished the top contract of 120 in 4 years. He also finished the final leg of this while his wife was preparing to give birth to their brand new baby girl. And so everybody tune in. You're going to get a lot of nuggets on what it takes to get to a 120, how to do it faster than Jordan Hunt did, and also reveal the fact of whether or not it's worth all the hard work. So this one's going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one. Who has the better mugshot? Is it Jordan Hunt or Jason Ditson?
I feel like at this point, Brandon, we should be putting together an all-conference mugshot squad.
Yes.
And I think we've got our 2 team captains.
The positive mugshot. We'll call it PMS.
I'll tell you that, like the Tony Capistrano mugshot, though, the picture where he's not smiling, pretty strong too.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some good ones out there. There's some good ones out there. Feel free to serve us up. Anybody in the Q&A is in the future, as we're seeing mugshots that you like. Let us know what you see. B-Dubs?
Yes. Before I promote this next cohort launch, I will tell you a story from an agent who is working with Mr. Justin Finney that I got this text last week. And this agent said, what you said made sense to me. What if you strung 4 best activity weeks together? What would that look like? And this agent goes on to say, I have 2 of those weeks down, 25 appointments booked last week, 33 this week, 12,790 last week in APV, 11,911 this week in APV, issue rate in the low 90s. Going to update my app numbers tomorrow. It'll look like a video game number. I have the activity backup as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I could not have been enabled enough to do this without you unlocking the beast within me. That's Justin's little tagline, which is funny because Justin's such an unassuming guy. Spivey and I talk about this a lot. He has been on this call, but he just has such a passion to apply his industry expertise and his sales performance coaching skills, which just are ridiculous, to unlock the beast within. So we have a new cohort launching. And what Justin's doing is he's working very carefully with myself on not launching something that is unnecessary. It's launched from the pain points and the challenges and the obstacles that we're seeing agents hit that we want you to smash through with greater ease. So we're launching this new cohort. It's just a 5-week challenge launching the week of June 20th. The audience of this group is key leaders and above, so don't apply for it if you're not at least a key leader. But it's going to be 5 intense weeks where you're going to get a roadmap of your why, an identity statement, what you want. And the thing I really want to highlight, which I think is really important right now, is he's going to work on prospecting strategies and strategic partnerships for recruiting and growing your business with referrals. So he's going to really give some insights that he's been doing a lot of work with Brad Smith on this as well. But just how do you get those referrals, that flywheel spinning? So highly recommend this. right now, again, the one-stop shop for Symmetry coaching. Go to HQ, go to training, you'll see Symmetry coaching. Not only will you be able to register for this cohort that's launching, but we also have some new Sales 101 cohorts, which are, if you're brand new, you'll be able to go in, and that should be up by the end of the day, the Sales 101 cohorts. Go into that training section, and if you're interested in working with Justin on those new challenges to kind of get your sales confidence up, that's a place to go for that. So great things happening there. Spivey and I get probably more messages than we can shake a stick at it, people being impacted there. So really appreciate all the work that's happening, and you know, the ability to make these very accessible price-wise for you. So rock on. That's the new 5-week challenge that could add value to many of you key leaders right now.
Rock on.
And above.
Well done.
Yeah.
And above. No doubt. All right, what's next on deck here? Oh, Mr. Zay, little passion project of yours coming to a head over the next few weeks. How's that been going? Onboarding Portal 2.0.
It's going great. So coming to a head today, as a matter of fact. So we're excited to announce, as we've been talking about a little bit leading up to this, we are ready to begin rolling out our new onboarding portal to the masses. So starting today, we'll be sending out notifications. So we've broken it up into the 4 major hierarchies, and we'll follow this schedule. So Wayland Agency, that includes any agency owner in Marshall's group, directs included, will receive email instructions today. You'll also receive a guide of how to use the portal, their videos for training, everything you need. Good news is that the functionality and what you're going to experience is very similar to what you've been using, but it's been optimized to help get people through the funnel more effectively. So there are changes in the workflow. The main thing to be aware of is once you get access to the new one, you can go full bore in using it, including resending invitations out from the old portal. You're not required to do that. However, we're going to keep your access open. It's best for everybody not to straddle the line between those two systems. So unless you have somebody in the old system that's really, really close to finalizing their application to send on to the home office, of course, we don't want somebody to have to go in and redo everything if they're right near the end. But up until the 24th, Friday, June 24th, we will you will have access to the current system in order to get emails, send out new invitations. After the 24th, we will cut off access. However, we will maintain all the data in that system, and we'll be able to support anybody that has any issues or might need to get something out of the previous version. So that will continue until we no longer need it. So we're excited. A couple of other key things for folks getting on board is we have directly in the portal on the bottom right-hand corner, and this will be included in your guide that comes with your email. You can report any issues, feature requests, bugs you may experience in the platform directly in the onboarding portal. You don't have to go to HQ and submit a ticket. You can do it directly there in the onboarding portal. We have a team of developers, so should anything arise that we didn't uncover in testing, we've got a team there ready to address it and deal with it. Other exciting news is one of the main features that will benefit everyone is anyone at a 75 contract level or above. As soon as your agency owner has access to the new portal, all downline agents who can recruit, meaning you have the ability to get a downline, will be able to send invitations out of the new system without any setup done on our end. It's automatic. So as soon as your agency owner is in, you are also in, and you will be enabled that ability to send out invitations. It'll still go through the agency owner in terms of processing and sending to the home office. And then the other big change is we have auto save features that captures information and data along the way, so people don't have to come back and retype information. It remembers everything that's going on. It is going to continue, and you'll see this start to function a whole lot like our HQ platform, in the sense that this is our minimum viable product. It's what we need to do our business every day. We have an entire list of backlog features. And so every couple of weeks, you'll continue to see new features and functions added to the portal to help you streamline your business and become effective. So we want to hear your feedback. We want to hear ideas, and you can submit that through the same button that you submit any challenges or issues you may experience as well. So exciting day, a lot of work by a lot of folks to get this done and live and ready to go. So be on the lookout. Also, you'll get pop-up notifications in HQ. So we're going to hit you as many ways as we can to let you know it's ready to go and ready for you to use.
Well done, sir.
Yeah,
Check out the chat. There'll be a few questions there for you to answer
yep, I'll do it.
since it's your passion project.
Right.
We have an upcoming carrier webinar, WebEx National Training, hosted by Americo. It's not a webinar, it's a WebEx. And then DFLIVIN on Tuesday. And Casey?
Yes, sir. Big
Granddaddy?
Denver.
Mhm.
You're heading out there next week, aren't you?
I am going to scope things out, make sure it's up to our standards. Should
Right.
be. Yep. I mean, I'm really excited about it. You've been out there.
Yeah.
Already. So
Yeah, I'm excited for you to see it. I think you're gonna be well, you've seen the Belco.
yes.
Yeah. It's gonna be special, especially with all the goodies we got ready to roll out by conference,
Yeah. There's
be a big one.
many good
I'd like-
things.
Yeah, I think we should spend a little more time talking about conference today and timing and what everyone should be focused on. But if you're not registered, you need to be getting registered.
It's something I get asked about a lot, Brandon and Casey, and I talk a lot about it on the tours and visiting other some of the large agency meetings, and people talk to me about what life looks like today compared to, what life might have looked like a while back. So compare a little bit about what we're going to experience in Denver and think back and tell me a little bit what it was like that you and Brandon remember planning the first Symmetry conference. What are some of the biggest differences in space and the amount of people you're planning for?
Well, we were planning for 200 people at the first one, and I think about 89 showed up. It was a little Marriott close to the Atlanta airport, and there was a little bit of a sewage problem with the bathroom, one of the bathrooms closest to the ballroom. So there was this unpleasant urine smell that was in the hallway. So it was not good. I also think that there was a career builder rep that may have gotten fired from that event because he was buying too many people shots at the bar. So we've changed a good bit since then.
Yeah, I remember that fondly. I remember that guy getting fired because he decided to pay for everyone's drink at the bar, and Symmetry took him up on that.
They did. We did not stand
all
in.
89 of our people were in that bar that night. Like, all right, I'll have a beer, I'll have a drink. And then I remember, for our first several conferences, Brandon, we did a lot. We were like load in, load out. I mean, we'd be there early with everyone, and we'd be loading the trucks and putting up the banners and setting up the room. And I mean, we were, bootstrapping it to a whole new level.
Oh yeah. I remember you got to operate one of those little machines where you get raise up.
Yeah, we were.
I was jealous of that. I wanted to operate that thing. Then I did it once and got a little afraid of heights. So I'll let you.
I remember on the teardown, you and I would always get distracted with these big balls of tape. Remember we played tape ball?
Mm-hmm.
After every conference, the conference room be tearing down, and they would use these big rolls of black duct tape to kind of hold the wires down so no one tripped on them. Brandon and I would end up finding these balls and starting to kind of, we can turn anything into a game. And we'd play tape. Play tape ball. That was our thing after every conference.
Yep. Except for the one conference, it was really fun where the prize for people were carpet skates, and everybody was carpet skating. Right. And Brian pulled two quads or two handles. He pulled both hands. But conference has not always been good for Brian Pope.
No, it hasn't.
He hurt his back so bad one time he had to get like a traveling doctor to come see him.
That's right.
And he was just pounding cookies. We gave him Puckett would bring us cookies, and so we gave all of our cookies to Brian, and he just laid in bed eating cookies. He pulled two hammies one time, so he couldn't move.
Yeah, his leg was black and white. Yeah. But we saw the conference Spivey grow from a mere 80, 90 people to I think the last event we had in person was DC, and that was up near 3,500 to 4,000 people in attendance. And Brandon and I aren't necessarily having to do load in and load out anymore, although we are still getting there early, and you have kind of walkthroughs and table reads and all kinds of different types of activities now, but it's definitely, we have a team, not only in-house team, but we have a lot of outsourced partners that come in to help and help kind of make the event what it is. And it truly is something special every time we leave. I think we've never left a conference yet where we said that's our best conference we've ever had. You know.
Yep. I think we're definitely going to keep that streak alive. There were several questions in the Q&A from managers, Casey, inquiring about owners packs. We haven't been pushing those because we wanted to give everybody a chance to assign their tickets. But if you are in need of tickets, which I think a lot of you are, just email events@quility.com, events@quility.com, and you can get more owners packs. Who all would you recommend getting an owners pack, Casey? Because we're kind of at that sweet spot right now where we are, what are we, 90 days away? Is that right?
Yeah.
No, 60 days away.
Well, June, July. So yeah.
So we're getting close. There are people out there that are brand new. They need to have 10 people there at a minimum. So would you recommend that everybody has an owner's pack? How do you try to do that?
I would just recommend everyone do the math and then make your mind up. Like, so the math, what's an owner's pack cost? Anybody have that number right in front of them? Put it in the chat. If you know the owners, what's the cost of the owner's pack?
I'll ask Joe real quick.
Let's say it's $2,000.
Okay.
I don't think it is, but let's say it's $2,000. It's $2,000. So I'm gonna, as an entrepreneur, I'm gonna think about where am I gonna get the most bang for my buck? And a lot of you guys know, like, it's real simple for most people to say, I'm gonna invest $500 in leads and I'm gonna turn that into a couple $1,000, right? The only problem with that is you got to go out and do it again next week. You got to go out and do it again next week. We always try to teach people, Brandon, here, that we're focused on how much money you bring in, but we're also really laser focused teaching people and educating people that it's not just the amount of money, it's the type of money. Because if you can start thinking about the type of money that comes in being more passive in nature, then you're going to start to buy time back with that. You're going to start going on vacation for a week and your money didn't stop. You're going to get yourself in a position where if you get sick or injured, you can't work for a month, that the money doesn't slow down. And sometimes it actually accelerates. And that's the position we want to get as many of you guys in as possible. That's why Symmetry exists. That's what we've always tried to do. And so I think one of the best investments you can make that will create passive income is backing yourself into a corner, saying, I'm going to get an owner's pack. What that means is I'm going to buy a block of 10 tickets to the national conference, and then I'm going to sell against that. We use the same psychology that Brandon and I used from day one. We started to think about, Brandon, what is it that makes you and I talk so much about getting people to conference? One of the things, outside of just knowing what kind of production is going to come from it, is that there's a cost for us in the conferences. Our conferences, even though we charge a ticket price for it, our conferences net cost us last year, the one conference was $750,000 of net loss. So you better believe Brandon and I have always had enough skin in the game where we felt like we had to promote conference a bunch. Okay. So buying an owner's pack kind of puts you in that owner's seat a little bit more to say, hey, I'm going to make the investment. I'm going to put skin in the game. I'm going to dump in a couple $1,000 to get 10 tickets. And then I'm just going to sell against that. The beauty in that is you sell those tickets for whatever the ticket cost is, and you basically recoup the amount. But let's just throw that away. Let's just say it net cost you $2,000. What we also know is for every 10 people you get at conference, it's $50,000 of agency volume that comes from having 10 people sitting with you on a monthly basis. So if you take $50,000 a month and you water that down and you strip that down to what that's going to generate you from a passive income standpoint, it's about on average $50,000 a year. So what's $50,000 a year on a monthly basis?
About 4,200, 4,100.
4,200. So Brandon, if I were to approach you right now with a piece of real estate that you could invest $2,000 in that would produce for you inside of 120, 180 days, 4,100 a month of passive income, would you buy it?
I don't know. I'm not sold yet.
I'm not sure about that. Sounds too good to be true, right?
That's right.
That's kind of that's the investment mindset. I think you kind of come to the table with here with stuff like this, and maybe only sell 8, maybe only sell 5, but in the end, I mean, cut that in half. Let's say cut that 4,100 down in half, and let's say it's only a couple thousand a month. Would you invest 2,000 right now to generate 2,000 a month? Passively, would you invest 2,000 a month right now to generate 500 a month passively all day long?
Yeah.
So
and what you get out of this is you learn at conference how to manage the 10 people that you have. You get them fired up so that they're going out and recruiting. It may not be the 10 people that come to conference. They may get there and say, it's in for me, but maybe they think, but this could be great for my niece, my cousin, my brother, my mama, whatever. Right. But the point is, if you just look at the data, you still have to be a good person. You still have to work hard. You still have to do all of the things that get results. But there is, bottom line, no better investment than this into, and I would say an owner's pack than anything else in your business.
Yep. What you want on your team is you want committed people. You want people that are kind of planting their flag here, and they have a very similar ambition level to you, and sometimes more than you, which is always a good thing. That's when you have a good running buddy. You don't want to be pushing rope a lot. If you're building an agency, and a lot of people on this call are, if you're frustrated because it feels like you're pushing rope sometimes, the two problems with that are A, you're probably not recruiting enough people, and B, you're not putting those people in a position to make a very committed decision to something. Right. You guys have all committed. You've planted your flag strong. And when commitment happens, action follows that, and the results start to follow that commitment. Everything is kind of drives from that commitment. So if I'm going to have a bunch of people on my team, I want a bunch of very committed people that I just got to get out of their way. And conference is the single-handedly biggest and best thing you can do to drive commitment on your team.
It's a challenging business, and it is, exponentially challenging to those that are like got one foot in, or that are expecting easy money. Right. And I think what we do at conferences is you can see so many examples of people that have put in the work, continue to put in the work, not only in the business, but on themselves. And that's where the results are coming. And so there's so many examples of people that are having success that you may have people leave that say, what we hope you see is like, if that person can do it, there's no reason I can't do it. The only reason they are and you're not is because they're doing some things that you're not doing. And up to that point, you probably haven't been willing to do. Right. Yep. So it's not a business for the uncommitted, the non-committal, like you got to get in it. And we say, it's like, it's not an easy business. It's very simple, but you got to be committed to getting through the learning curve, just like really in any business. And, I think what trips a lot of people up is it's so easy to get in that then it's so easy to get out, And so when someone just says, you know what, I'm going to spend $150 on a conference ticket, I'm going to fly across the country or drive across the country, I'm going to get a hotel room, I'm going to invest in myself so that I can do this. When they do that, they put skin in the game and they force themselves to take it a little more seriously. Right. And so I think that's why we always say the people that come to conference, they're going to have a much more likelihood that they're going to have success, whatever that looks like for themselves, because there's so many things that you're going to learn, but there's also this new level of commitment that you're going to see because you're going to see so many examples of people that are doing it, and you're going to be able to feel how different their lives are. You're going to hear, like, you think you're struggling? Let me tell you what Marlon Faulkner had to do before he came into the business. Yep. Let me tell you what Carlton Lear was doing, being homeless, living in a car in 5-degree weather in Chicago in the winter, right? You think you're struggling? The difference between those two men and you is that they felt it, they kept going, right? They were committed enough to get better, right? So how do I get committed? And I think there's this there's this idea that you always have to stay motivated, right? And let me tell you something. Here's the difference with successful people. Successful people work really hard on days they're not motivated, right? And so, yes, coming to a conference and coming to an event, it is going to get you fired up in the moment, but successful people do things differently because they do them when they're not easy to do them. They do them when they don't feel like doing them, right? And how do I learn how to become that type of person? I surround myself with people that are like that. And that's what you do when you get to a conference full of 5,000 people that are committed to getting better and learning the tricks of the trade. That's going to rub off on you. You're going to feel that energy, and you're going to have this desire, and you're going to have this clarity that you can't get sitting at home looking on a Zoom. And I know that we had 2 great events on Zoom, and we'll continue to have one a year probably of those events because I think they're valuable. But you can't put a price on how important it is to get in front of a room like that and to actually feel the energy. And we used to always kind of joke around about it, Casey. It's like, I don't really care what they say or what they do at conference. What I do care about is they're showing up, A, and they're leaving, B, which is better, right? They're showing up, not as good, and they're leaving better. They're leaving a better parent, a better, partner, a better business person, certainly a better producer, better at advanced markets, better, whatever you want to get better at, better recruiter, better, whatever your thing that you need help in, you're going to get better going there. You might get better sitting at home reading some product guides, but I doubt it.
Yep.
Not nearly as better as that is.
That's right. I also think about not to go too much on this point, but it is just us today and Ditson. We got to talk to Ditson a little bit too. But I would just say that I always think about the people on this call that maybe are new, or maybe you haven't quite got yourself in a position to kind of commit yet, and so you're thinking about conference, whether it's just assigning your name, getting a ticket yourself, or getting an owner's pack. And there's always this kind of like, is it procrastination that's holding you back, or is it that you just don't want to go? And if you don't want to go, don't go. That's what we would always say, because what's the saying? A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. The last thing we want to do is convince you to do something you don't want to do. And then your perception is your reality. If you didn't want to go, you're probably not going to get much out of it. So it's just kind of a waste for both parties. But for those of you, I would say the majority of you are more in the procrastination camp, where you're saying, I'm going to go, but I just need to wait. I'll pull the trigger. I'm just going to make sure this thing's working for me, or whatever that thing you're saying is that's causing you to procrastinate. You've got to start changing those behaviors anywhere. That's not just here. That just applies to success, period. You've got to start taking those knee-jerk reactions to things and start changing the way you react to those things. And I would argue that there's so much value in pulling the trigger as a brand new person on a conference ticket because of what it says to you. It's like, well, I don't have to wait to conference to actually get the value of commitment to conference just by signing up. It's like, if any of you guys have ever ran a marathon or a 5K or any sort of endurance, something you had to train for, tell me you didn't start training harder the day you registered for that event, because you told yourself, I'm doing it. The very act of telling yourself I'm doing it, which is what you do when you pull the trigger on whatever decision you're trying to weigh out, that pulling the trigger is one of the best things you can do for your commitment level right now. So I would urge you guys not to procrastinate. I went through a quitting phase in this industry back in, I think it was like 06 or 07, Brandon. It was, the old wise tales, I've missed like 43 appointments in a row. It was like 27 appointments in a row, but those were driving to appointments, by the way. those were not Zoom appointments. That's like 400 appointments in today's math. That's right. I was at my quitting point, and I'm about to walk away from this industry, looking at classified ads in the newspaper for jobs around me. And because I'd just had a bad run of 3 or 4 weeks worth of appointments, and everyone was telling me it was just one of those months. And with every missed appointment, I put another brick layer up of like self-doubt. And, that was just like, the more appointments I missed, the harder it got for me in my head to like, I'm not going to be able to turn this thing around. And it was an event. It was an event that I had pre-registered for because I didn't procrastinate. I just hit the done button. And because I had pre-registered for it, I just decided to go. And I came out that next month and did $43,000 of personal production. I've never done more than that with my own pen by myself. That next month, I went from almost quitting to the biggest month I'd ever had because I went to an event and I rubbed elbows with Brandon Ellison and other people like that in the same industry, in the same business. But it was because I hit that done button. So Don't wait, guys. Don't procrastinate. Hit the done button, whether you're talking about getting a ticket, getting an owner's pack, whatever it is, like pull the done, push that button.
Do you feel like it was because I gave you probably some like really good sales tips at that conference?
Probably was.
Turned it around?
Absolutely.
You got on the whiteboard and really drew.
I drew
it
some
out.
circles.
Inspired me.
Got some circles.
I drew some circles. I showed him what was up. I was like, no, but it's not about your swing. It's about your stance.
That's right, man.
One of the things we wanted to take advantage of having you both, I know you guys both have been burning both ends of the candle, and for everybody out there, you don't get to see what Jason and I get to see here in Asheville on a day in, day out basis, guys. But the amount of the energy that's going in right now to building out Quility, not just for Denver, not just for the next year, but for the next 10 years, for the next 20 years, the effort that goes behind that, not only from a financial investment that we see Brandon and Casey and Pope continue to make, guys, but just from a time commitment. We always talk about sometimes you got to get a little bit out of balance in order to create that time and money that you're seeking in the long term. And I just want to say my gratitude to you, Brandon and Casey, and for what I've seen you do the last several months, I guess going on a couple of years now with this incredible run we're on, but the building of the future. And I know a lot of people heard that you guys were in New York. You got to spend some time at the InsurTech conference. And so with Denver coming up and with some of the rollouts that we have going, with all the efforts that you have been putting in behind the scenes, like tell us a little bit about your New York experience and why now this time in this industry is so important to lean into and plant your flag and have an opportunity to grow truly a situation of wealth and significance in the long term. So talk to us a little bit about New York and your feeling around the industry.
Thank you for that, buddy. And certainly the same can be said for you, man. You're here before we are and usually here after we leave. So traveling all over the place, and you're like a connector on steroids, and people love you for that. So, New York, it was really my second, third trip to New York. And I think it was busier there than it's even been here. Fletcher, our CFO, I think is the highest paid executive assistant that you could ever have, because
he was on that trip.
He was, man. He put everything together, and we went to a great InsurTech conference. We got to meet with several different partners, several different potential partners. A lot of what's going on behind the scenes at Quility is there's been a little bit of a split between distribution and some really strategic ventures. And some of those ventures, without getting into too much detail, because we could talk about this stuff for hours, are around data, apps, MyQuility, as you know, the lead marketplace, which we can talk some about. And basically each of those ventures kind of act as their own business, to make it simple, right? They each run off their own P&L. They each have their own, are continuing to kind of be staffed up. And I think that's made a huge difference in focus, but it's also made a huge difference in value, but really in how the market kind of views Quility and Symmetry. You guys aren't just part of an IMO anymore. It's much, much bigger than that. And we're very grateful to have, people like Mark Palmer, who's in charge of strategy, to have Travis Shank in charge of revenue, to have Steve Fletcher in charge of finances that can help us, as we continue to refine and shape that vision. And so much of New York was about that. It was meeting in big banks, big private equity places. They have great views up there. Have you noticed this?
Yeah, they do.
These boardrooms are so much nicer than our boardroom. Casey and I came back like, we need to invest a little money in our boardroom.
No.
I think we're going to. Then we got the price tag. We're like, yeah, maybe we should invest in some other things first. One of these days, though, we're going to have a really nice boardroom.
Right.
So we got to meet on digital products is another big strategic venture. Got to meet a lot around that. And I guess the key takeaway that I would have was that there was a lot of validation in what the company is doing. There's a lot of validation in what you guys are doing. That always feels really good from us, because we're sitting in a room full of people that know everything about the industry. They know where the money's going. They know where the investments are going, what our company's really investing in. We say this all the time, that there are, companies out there that are investing in kind of roll-up strategies, which is not what we're doing. That's a really simple strategy where you basically acquire distribution at a lower multiple and hope that one day you either go public or sell it at a much higher multiple. That's a really hard business for the agents to actually get any better at, because you got, 250 flags, whatever, trying to operate independently, even though they should be under one brand. And there's, now we're starting to see, somebody told me just the other day that there's like class action lawsuits going on with some of these companies. There's obviously FTC concerns. There's a lot of different things going on, and we don't generally talk about other companies, and it's not really our place to do that. But there was a lot of validation in what we're doing and how the market views the digital product strategy that we have, how the market views the data strategy that we're creating, and what value we're looking at with a MyQuility. What does that bring to the market? What does it bring to the agents? Does it make your jobs easier to sell product? Obviously, selling QLT is much easier than it was, Casey, 15 years ago when you were selling Saver Select with F&G Life, and you were getting the same price, or you're getting a better price with QLT than you were there with a super preferred, fully underwritten term product 15 years ago, right? So obviously things have gotten so much easier, but we're getting ready to go through the largest land grab we've ever gone through. It's not going to be easy. There's some challenges that we're going to have to continue to overcome, and we're learning things every single day that are getting us better. But that's really what New York was about. We got to go to an InsurTech conference. We paid for 2 days. We only lasted one. It was not the type of conference that you guys are getting ready to go to. I'll just say that. It really didn't fit in what we do, but it was really good because we did make some connections on a few things. And really understood like how far ahead of the curve we are. Just using data as an example, it would be very easy. It'd be very nice for as an AO, as a direct, as whatever, to have every piece of data you need for your business at your fingertips. We're working towards that. We're getting close to that. We're so far ahead of where anybody else is in the industry, including insurance companies, that it's crazy. Insurance companies are like dinosaurs. They haven't had to do any of this evolution, and now they're kind of being forced to. And so it's really hard for them because they're having to change 120-year-old, not necessarily systems, but processes, the way that they've kind of stored things and done things up to this point. So that's another example of like how hard it is to kind of move these big ships. So you guys are in such a great position because you're going to have access to so many different things that people don't have. And when you're talking about as a builder and as a recruiter, like there's so much power in that. And just a personal producer, how you're going to acquire clients, how we're evolving the way that leads are going to be generated and worked is a really important thing that people need to kind of get their head wrapped around and understand that we're not going to be perfect with it. We're going to make some mistakes. We're always going to do the right thing and try to clean those mistakes up. But I felt after Friday this past week, looking at some lead stuff, digital lead stuff, like better than I felt in weeks around that, because of just the people we have behind the scenes kind of doing this stuff for you, man. There's 210 employees now working for you guys. And that's the kind of stuff that they're really working on, is how do we take this thing to the next level with all of these strategic ventures? So That was a long
Yeah.
answer to what I
Love
felt
it.
like New York was about, but that's
Validating,
the
dude.
takeaway.
I
Very
said the
validating.
same thing. Spivey said one word on the last call, and I said validating. I think the rest of the market, and since we were up there with, market investors and capital potential partners and stuff like that, that was very validating. They clearly know what's going on with the consolidation that's happened all around us. Literally every company like ours, big and small, has sold their companies. Owners have cashed out. They've rolled up into these big consolidated companies. Great for the owners, not great for the agents. Not necessarily great for the agents, I should say, when you have Symmetry and Quility over here developing digital products, like investing millions and millions of dollars into digital products, all the strategic ventures that Brandon just mentioned. I mean, in the end, what they recognize is the same thing we recognize. The person that changes the agent's life and the client's life the most wins. No one's life is being changed because of a roll-up strategy, except for the CEOs or the owners of those companies that were able to sell, and good for them, great. But when it comes to the agents, what you guys are going to get to experience over the next 12 to 24 months, especially those of you who want to dip your toe into the game of, developing yourself and starting to attract others in developing an agency of your own that kind of runs without you. If that's your goal, then man, as Brandon said, this is getting ready to be one of the biggest land grabs in our eyes we've ever seen in this industry. I mean, if you're an agent out there, where are you going to go to plant your flag? The company that's developing products that are, 20, 30% cheaper, can be underwritten in 8 to 10 minutes, bigger face amounts, better bells, and or are you going to stick with what you've been doing? Are you going to go somewhere that's actually developing technology and software and the things that are going to help you optimize your life and optimize your business so that you aren't trading so much time for that money? Again, that's what we're investing millions and millions of dollars into. So whether you're just an agent and you want to stick here and figure out how to make a big income, or you want to dip your toe in that passive income pot, like Denver and what we have going on right now, and it has been very validated in New York, we are very much ahead of everyone else in the industry with what we're doing. So I'm just excited, again, more than we've ever been, just because of our position and our timing and our opportunity that's in front of us right now. It's very unique. I think the word unicorn came up several times up there, Brandon, where it's like, you guys are, so you're self-funded. You haven't went out there and capitalized, and taken money from every person that would give it to you and got your company over leveraged. You also see on the other side of the coin, on the other side of the consolidation that's happened, you see the companies trying to do things without agents. Policy Genius, as we just mentioned on the last call, just fired 25% of their employees.
Yeah.
Eliminated these companies that were trying to do it without agents are realizing, well, we took a bunch of capital in because we sold people a big story, but hey, turning that into net profit is really hard. And so these companies are looking at us, these big investment capital partners are saying, you guys are a unicorn right now in a massive multi-trillion-dollar space, and it's just really, really exciting. Again, to Brandon's point, it's not going to be easy. We still have a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of things to do, but it's extremely good timing.
Yeah. I want to go to Ditson in just a second, but I did want to address something that somebody wanted us to address in the Q&A. Apparently, some companies like to badmouth the agency owner's contract, which is hilarious to me, by the way, because we've recruited probably 2,000 agents over the past year from outside. And you know what the number one problem they had outside of leads and resources was? Their company stealing their agents, or other agencies stealing their agents within the same umbrella, or moving agents around without somebody's blessing, right? So all of these people also were promised all of these things, whether it was a release or whether it was this or whether it was that, and they didn't give it. So we believe in our agency owner's contract. I don't know that we feel like we've always tried to do the right thing without a contract. But if I'm in a position of an agency owner, I would feel a lot better about building a business if I had some contractual protections. You know,
Ask the handful of people that have used it, Brandon. What if they think it was
yeah, no, you're exactly right. Ask Jimmy Spildinger's family how they feel about it. You know, so listen, I think people always love to kind of take shots at things they either don't understand or that they can't match or do because they don't really have another way of saying, well, it's not as good as what we do because we do this and this is much better. That's not what happens. They say, oh, that thing's bogus or that thing's crap or that thing's no good. It's just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. And it's like, whatever. All right. Doesn't make any sense to me. But I know this, if I'm building a big business and I've generated $1 million of revenue in that business or more, I would want to protect myself. I would want to protect my family. I would want to have the ability to retire. I would want to have the ability to pass it on if I got hurt or sick or passed away. I would want all of those things. And
I would want a signature on a piece of paper from
absolutely
both entities saying, here's what we agreed to. Here's what you agreed to. You hold up to your end. You're going to get this. I hold up to my end. You know, it's like, that's just how you do business.
And we came from an organization where we saw people getting taken from people's downlines all the time. And we know that goes on out there all the time. Yep. So people can poop on it all they want, but didn't really make any difference to us. So Jason Ditson, you know, we were talking last week about how do we make conference calls just have a few more kind of nuggets and pop so that as a new agent or an agent, I can come in, I can learn something that I can apply immediately. And we said, why don't we put Jason or Mike or Spivey or Brian Williamson on a call for just a few minutes every week to uncover a new sales technique, a new way to use the technology that we have, a new product type or advanced market way to uncover a potential solution to a problem, right? With you, it's like I said, Jason, I want you to get on the call and I want you to come up with what are some gaps or what are some holes in the portfolio that people may not know are covered by products that we have. So somebody comes to the table and they need this and they think that we can't help them because they don't know about a certain product, right? So there's so many of those. And I think Virtual Mentor does a great job of uncovering some of that. But I'm glad you're on with us because you are the guru, man. Anytime an insurance carrier calls us and says, hey, how do we get in on the action? We want to do business with you. I say, well, first you got to talk to Jason because he'll tell you if you can actually solve any problems for us. So that's how much faith we have in you because you come back right away with like no, they're not going to be able to do this, or this. We've already got all these things covered. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And you talk about it, right? Do you want to sit around and read about products? You know, we're not dealing with one carrier, we're dealing with multiple carriers and we've got better use of our time. And it's almost impossible. Our better focus is really to focus on a handful of products with a couple carriers that's our go-to. Because when we know those products and we know them really well, we're able to explain them to the clients in a way that makes it a simple decision. So what I do know is we get stumped sometimes. We get out there and we're talking to someone and they throw some health conditions at us and we're like, what in the heck are we going to do? Because the worst thing to do is get someone declined, right? We're there to help somebody. And then when you get somebody declined, you start creating more issues and more problems. It doesn't feel great to the client either. So you brought up a specific product and that product was kind of my go-to in a lot of situations for young people. You run into a young person that maybe has some PTSD or someone in their 20s, early 30s with diabetes. What in the heck do you do, right? Because the first thing you think is, oh, I got to go guarantee issue. But am I going to put a 20-year-old into a graded plan or, you know, a guarantee issue whole life? And then what's available out there? So we have other options and that'll be on another call. We'll unveil a little option for those young folks that are a guarantee issue situation, but I'm going to steal the screen here for a quick moment. All right. So on this product, what we're looking at here is UHL. Can you see my screen? All right, fantastic. So the simple term 20 deluxe. This benefit is, and it is a level term.
I love this product. Can I just say, first of all, I love that we're starting with this one, man, because when I was in the field a long time ago, I think I stopped in 2011. So more than 10 years ago, I still was writing this product at least, I would say on average once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. It's a great hole filler. So sorry, I just had to say that. It hadn't changed. I know that, I still talk to some people that love this product. Brad Smith and I were talking about just yesterday.
It is. So there's folks on this call I know that are very, very familiar with this product, but there's ones that are not. And here's the biggest thing. So level term product, 20-year, renewable to age 95. So it is from ages 20 to 60 up to table 8 is what's built into this thing.
Table
Now, the
8.
key,
That's
table
crazy.
8, the key thing is it's only for non-smokers, right? So we got to think of it that way, but it's perfect for insulin diabetics. You run across a 30-year-old that's an insulin diabetic, boom, this is the one you want to go to. And one thing that's getting more and more common, I have found anyways, is that I do run across a lot of individuals, young individuals with PTSD and that are bipolar. And that's a really tough fit. And when we're talking about someone who's younger, we want to give them as much coverage and protection for their family as possible. And younger folks typically have family and children. And what's really great about this product, it goes to $50,000 of level immediate death benefit. It also has a child rider and an AD&D rider as well you can add to it. So it's a great plan to go to. Now, some key things with this that is going to change. The part I didn't like was you have to do, it's a PHI, got to do a phone interview, but handle it, do a 3-way call, make sure you're on that call. You can't interject and say, that's not the case. You just have to help kind of walk them through the process. If the client maybe didn't understand exactly what was asked, just ask the examiner to go ahead and re-ask that question in a different way. But understand this product is my go-to for young folks. And if you look at that height weight chart, 5 foot 240, 5'8", 305, 6'4", 385. So this really covers a wide variety of situations you're going to come across and allows you to get an immediate benefit for somebody. Now, point of sale underwriting on this one, if you guys are familiar with UHL's products, their whole life products now have a point of sale underwriting where it no longer requires that PHI, which is a game changer. They still require it on their term products, but what I was told is they will be getting the point of sale underwriting option attached to the term products before end of year. So this is just a great product. Folks with PTSD, you're going to run across it all the time. Bipolar is going to pop up, guarantee it. And diabetes for young folks, it's getting more and more common. This is where you want to go. Not to mention, they do have a nice little incentive trip. And it's one of the carriers where their incentive trip is a pretty easy qualification. I think we saw in those leaderboards, total production requirement for this in the course of January 1st through December 31st is 60,000 to paid production. So some of these folks on this call can get that hammered out in 1 week, some in 2. So it's just a really great product. If you're looking for a level term, you're coming across a young individual that has some health concerns, this is the way to go.
Love it, man.
Awesome.
Love it.
Nice little product corner there with Ditson. I like it.
That's right.
Thank you, buddy. Hey, and we do have some good trips. I'm fired up about this year's trips and next year's trips. We got some good ones, Brandon.
Absolutely.
Where are you going?
Best
Where are you
lineup
going
of
next
trips
year?
I've ever seen. Whew, I'm going to Buenos Aires. I'm definitely going to Hawaii. I'm going to, that's with Mutual of Omaha. American Amicable was the first one. Definitely at the top of mine on your list for sure is Banff in
Banff.
British Columbia. I think it's in British Columbia, isn't it? In Canada.
Close to it if it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be close there, somewhere up there. But yes.
Yeah, we're gonna travel some. It's gonna be fun.
I know I haven't traveled in a while, man. I haven't gone on carrier trips. We got the first the first thing to look forward to is we've got Costa Rica right around the gate.
Coming up quick.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Can't wait to see everybody there. We should do more just one-on-one calls, and what we would love to do is kind of open up the Q&A and just you guys pepper us with questions as you see fit. We don't get a chance to do that nearly as much. So Thanks
Good.
everybody for joining us. Yeah.
We did go 9 minutes over. We apologize about that.
Yeah, I was a little worried. That's my fault.
We got carried away. First, we were worried
Oh, me.
about how we're going to fill the time, and we said, no, we're not going to.
We always
We're not
do
going to
that.
have to worry about that. Sorry about
Yeah.
that, guys.
Sorry, guys. Yep. Hope
right,
everybody has a
everybody,
great Wednesday, though.
Yep.
Go set a record
Yep.
for yourself. It's a perfect week to do
Do
it.
it.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
See ya, bye.